Let me just say this, if the future of Star Wars is standalone movies, even after the saga films are over, if this film proves anything, I am more than okay with it. Hello all, it is I, the movie nerd. I am back to give you quite possibly the review that everyone has been waiting for. It is the review for the next Star Wars film, obviously making it a very event review, but it is a special occasion because this is not the next saga film. This is a standalone film. It is the first time that Disney, or rather any studio, has ever tried this. They took a risk, and let me tell you, it very much paid off. So don't worry, for all of you people who still haven't seen the movie yet, which I would advise going to see this movie, this is going to be my spoiler-free review. I will be uploading my spoiler-heavy review, but not until like a couple days later, so don't worry. For now, you can tune into this review and not worry about being spoiled at all. So here we go. This is my official spoiler-free review for Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
The rebellion! Save the dream!
So for those of you who still haven't figured out when this movie takes place, Rogue One specifically takes place in between the events of both Revenge of the Sith and the original Star Wars, focusing this time on a small, ragtag group of rebels who pulled off the heist that started the biggest film franchise of all time, stealing the plans of the Galactic Empire's ultimate weapon, the Death Star. This crew consists of Jyn Erso, a girl with a massive chip on her shoulder who finally comes to believe in a greater cause, Captain Cassian Andor, a rebel officer, Chirrut Imwe and Baze Malbus, former guardians of an ancient Jedi temple on the planet Jedha, very on the nose, K2SO, a reprogrammed Imperial droid, and Bodhi Rook, an Imperial pilot defector. Opposing them is the Galactic Empire, headlined this time by director Orson Krennic, the designer of the Death Star, as well as such returning players from the originals as you got Senators Mon Mothma and Bail Organa, Grand Moff Tarkin, and of course the man himself, Darth Vader. Rounding out the cast are Jyn Erso's father, Galen Erso, the designer of the Death Star, as well as rebel extremist Saw Gerrera, whom diehard fans will recognize from his Season 5 arc on the hit Cartoon Network animated TV series The Clone Wars. So again, with no spoilers, this movie was truly something special. Considering all the bullshit spin-off sequels we've gotten this year in terms of blockbusters, I was really worried that this movie was just going to be another one, and it really wasn't. This film did something for me that not even The Force Awakens was able to do, and that's it furthered the universe that had been, restarted last year, but it also managed to strengthen material that had come before, and by this I mean the original Star Wars. So basically, the movie ends like about 10 minutes before the original Star Wars begins, and so this basically, it flows so smoothly into it that it's basically the first prequel movie that I've seen that not only felt necessary, but it felt needed, almost. I've never seen a prequel movie do that for me before. But even more so than that is that this was the first Star Wars movie that didn't feel geared towards kids. Now, George Lucas has stated multiple times that when he made Star Wars, he was just trying to make a massive Saturday morning cartoon for the big screen. And now, granted, Empire was able to stray away from that a little bit, which is why it's the most respected. But for the most part, every Star Wars movie since then has attempted to emulate that trend of always appealing to kids first. And this film broke that trend, which I really appreciated. This didn't feel like a Star Wars film per se, but it felt more like a war film set in the Star Wars universe. They were real stakes. I felt like there were real struggles that the Rebel Alliance had to come, and, oh man, you want to talk about the Rebel Alliance, good God, this was the first movie where I actually saw them, like, as characters, not just as this big overall hoorah group is like, okay, we're the good guys, we have to defeat the Empire. They had impossible odds to overcome, and they didn't just feel like this mindless machine. They didn't feel like the good guys, per se, and that's what made them great characters, because no great character today is a straight-up good guy or a straight-up bad guy. Each and every one of these characters had gray areas. You had the spineless politicians from the prequels, who are still those spineless politicians, and you've got the soldiers who are willing to do some nasty shit, because this is war. War is hell, and I felt that every step of the way. And then, of course, you've got the references to the other Star Wars film, and let me tell you, Disney was able to incorporate them flawlessly. Whenever they dropped like a little piece in from the extended universe or from other Star Wars films, it felt actually really smooth and needed, and it didn't take me out of the film, which I really appreciated. And of course, if we're going to talk about Vader, oh my God, was he incorporated perfectly. Well, James Earl Jones is of course doing the voice because he's the voice of the most iconic character in history. You can't have anyone else, so it just wouldn't be the same. But Vader as a character, besides just the voice, is incorporated so seamlessly into this film. He does not feel like Anakin Skywalker from the prequels in that Vader suit. He is Darth Vader as soon as he pops up on screen. He is menacing. He is terrifying. You understand his role in this film. He is used extremely sparingly so as not to take away from the central overall plot of the theme. And let me tell you, without going into spoilers, There is a scene at the end of this film that happens that diehard Star Wars fans have been waiting for years. And when it happens, it's the best scene in the movie. Again, not gonna spoil anything, but it's the best scene in the movie. So as for the performances, well, let me go into, I really enjoyed these characters. I fell in love with each and every single one of them. I thought the actors portraying them were great. Obviously, the stand-up for me were Diego Luna, Donnie Yen, and Alan Tudyk. That being as their respective characters of Cassian Andor, Chirrut Imwe, and K2SO. That being said, they weren't as developed as I would have liked. The problem is, since this is a standalone film, they are focusing much more on story rather than character. See, the biggest difference, at least that I found, between this film and The Force Awakens is that Force Awakens had to reintroduce an entire generation to this new universe by setting up these new characters, and some old, to continue on this brand new journey that will encompass 3 films. So that's why the writing on Force Awakens in terms of the story seemed a little bit weaker, because they were focusing so much on these characters that certain elements, like a convincing third act, were sacrificed in the cutting room. However, with this film felt much more story-oriented, and even though the characters I thought were all great, they were much more geared towards to help the story, and so if they weren't as developed, that is why. Even though I love these characters, I understood each and every one of their motivations from start to end, and I really, really felt that they were fighting for a cause that they truly believed in, and it just made this film even stronger than it already was. So overall, this was a film that really could have been a disaster, and they made it work. I am giving props to Disney. They took a risk, and they paid off. The only thing that I am taking away from this movie, that I am giving against this movie, literally the only thing, and I'm nitpicking for this, lack of an opening crawl. This movie needed a crawl. I don't care what anybody says, this movie desperately needed a crawl, and I think it lacked from it, because the problem is that after, you know, they do the, what the fuck is it? Galaxy Far, Far Away. After it just bounces you right in, and it just feels really jumpy and out of nowhere, and it takes a little bit of time for the film to get really back on its footing. Also, an overall dismal, completely forgettable theme from usually great composer Michael Giacchino, which sucks because, like I said, he's a great composer. But this is a Star Wars movie. We should have at least a little bit of Star Wars theme, not bland, generic sci-fi theme, sci-fi score number, whatever. So, yeah. And the logo, but again, I am nitpicking at this point. These are literally the only actual problems that I had with this film. So props to Disney. I love you guys. You guys have officially saved the year of 2016 for me, and this film gets an 8 out of 10. I really, really appreciated what this film was able to do. I loved every single minute of it. I was never bored. I felt completely on the edge of my seat for most of it. That third act is absolutely fantastic. I love this movie. I really, really did. And my final note is that in terms of the motion capture, which there were 2 motion capture performances in this film, they managed to bring Peter Cushing back from the dead as Grand Moff Tarkin. And let me tell you, I disagree with everyone that says that CGI didn't look good, because let me tell you, the CGI I thought was great, and the character didn't feel forced. He was incorporated into the film perfectly. So that's it. That is my official non-spoiler review for Rogue One. What did you guys think? Whatever you thought, comment below. Let me know. Subscribe to this channel. Follow me on Twitter at Movie Nerd Review. Go to my website, movienerdreviews.com, and stay tuned because I've got a couple of special announcements coming. So if you guys are into seeing some even more awesome movie stuff, make sure you stay tuned. I will see you guys next time.